What's up, everybody? This is DIY Mixers crew. This is going just to be a test pilot of a show that we're going to be doing on YouTube. So basically what this is going to be is we're just going to introduce ourselves on who we are, what our profiles are, this, that, and the other, and talk kind of like on an outline what we're going to do with the show. If any of you guys are out there watching right now, please leave some comments down in the bottom of the live chat to give us like an idea on what you think is good and what's not good. So first off, I'm going to start with me. My name's Abe, aka Shake and Vape 007. I've been mixing for about maybe 2.5, 3 years. My profiles are custards, bakeries, this, that, and the other. Kind of like on an outline what we're going to do with the show. If any of you guys are out here watching right now, back here. Comments.
Yes, that's what I thought I did, but okay, I got it. Sorry. Technical problem, sorry.
Okay. Getting back to where I was at, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sorry guys, I'm just sure everything's working okay. Like I said, I've been mixing for about 3 years, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff on this show. We're going to be a bunch of stuff for you guys. Steve, if you want to introduce yourself, you go as folk art, so we'll keep that as folk art. You know,
That was very short. Okay, I guess I'm next, right? Okay, I'm Tammy. I go by Tam. I go by Tamburina, and that's like a long story to that name. I've had that nickname for 20 years. And it kind of sounds like a porn name, but it's not.
What are we tech piloting here or there, Tam?
I know, but we got to make it fun. So, okay. So, but that's I own that email address, that domain. I've had it for like 20 years. But on this group, I'm going by Tam because it's easy to say Tam. But on all the flavors, I'm Tamburina. And I have been vaping, since the beginning of 2014. So 3 years, over 3 years. I've been mixing for almost a year. So I am still learning. I have learned a tremendous amount, especially from this group that I'm in right now with these guys, but especially from Wayne. And yes, Mr. Wayne Walker. He's been awesome. All of his videos, New Amsterdam Vapes. I watched all of his videos before I bought my first supplies. I mean, I just did tons of research, but I live in Atlanta, Georgia, or south of Atlanta, Georgia. And let's see, I'm an old lady. But basically, I like to mix. Here lately, my favorite mix of my all-day vape is a tobacco blend. Like a RY4 double, like a dessert type tobacco. That's my favorite kind of, which has really evolved over the years, because originally my favorite vape was like a very sweet Pop-Tart pastry vape. So I went from that to tobacco blends. So I've kind of, I can vape about anything.
I think well, here's the deal, folks. I mean, basically how this group formed is we all decided to take Wayne Walker's mixing class, 202 class, and we kind of formed our friendship out of that. After the class was over, we took it upon ourselves to meet and greet each other after the class, and we formed a Discord group. We kind of chatted a little bit online on Discord about this, that, and the other, what our profiles are, what of our go-tos as far as what we vape and how we vape, this, that, and the other. And our friendships took off after that, and we formed a group. We mix well together as a group. Unfortunately, a few of our mixers aren't with us today.
Right.
2020. He's from the other side of the country. We have Lewis. He's from Portugal. We have Hashkey. He's from Italy, and we have two other mixers. One from Ricky Maggs. I think he's from
New York.
That's what I thought. Okay, New York. So we took it upon ourselves to create a group, and we hit it off really well. We've been bouncing ideas off of each other, I would say, for the past 2.5 months. Is that about right? 2.5 months, 3 months?
Yeah, I would say so.
Basically on recipe development, flavor testing, that everything DIY. You know, and we've been just throwing ideas out there, and we've been learning from each other along the way. And we feel that we would like to give back to the community on what we're learning off of each other. You know, some great recipes, flavor notes. We've been sharing flavor notes, you know, at the Yin Yang.
Oh, yes.
Stuff like that, you know, and we just feel that, you know, a lot of this information that we talk about amongst ourselves, we feel that, you know, we can bring that back and give it back to the community. So that's why we're going to be live show for everybody. So basically, we kind of introduced each other. You guys will get to know us along the way after we do more shows. But so basically, you know, every week we don't want to interfere with a lot of the other shows and mixers out there. So we're going to try to have our show on Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We're running a little bit late today. We had things that we had to do, and we didn't want to interfere with Chris Copel and Adam and those guys with Mix Life. So we decided to shoot for 7 o'clock because we know they keep their show at 6 p.m. Right? So that's why we're doing it around 7 o'clock today.
Dave, could I interrupt just for a second? I see in the chat where someone was saying that I didn't have any sound. I just wanted to make sure that my mic was working correctly now. So, y'all guys in the chat, just shoot a message.
A little bit of a delay on that.
Yeah. I think we lost Tammy.
I'm here. I'm sorry. Yes, I hear you.
Okay.
Just fine. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to pull up the YouTube so I can see the chat too at the same time.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll give it a second, Josh. We'll see if Folk Arts mic's coming back online soon. It should. There's a few seconds delay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's working now.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I heard a lot of banging with it too.
I'm sorry. Okay, so
oh no, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I need to tell about myself again, huh? So
I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. They say it's good now.
Here we go.
Okay, so my name's Steve, also known as Folk Art, and I've been vaping for about 2 years now. I started mixing back last September. Made a few. My first juices were like really bad. I mean, they were horrible. But I started doing some more research online, listening to a lot of videos of, or watching a lot of videos of Wayne Walker at DIY or Die, and picked up a lot of points and techniques from him and others, and started making a few, you know, pretty decent juices. I got a few really good all-day vapes that I'm pretty proud of. And, you know, we just wanted to create a show like this to, you know, to kind of highlight the DIY mixing community, and also maybe to help out some other younger mixers out there that may be having problems or need some questions answered. And so that's why we're here.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting. I didn't really say why I got into mixing. And the biggest reason that I got into mixing was because of FDA regulations that I saw coming down the pipeline. And I was like, you know, if this is going to happen, nobody's taking my e-juice from me. I can have a mod and I can keep my batteries, but nobody's taking my e-juice. So I've got to figure out how to make it, because I'm going to keep vaping.
So not to interrupt you, but getting into DIY, that was one of the reasons why you did, because of the FDA regulations as well?
Yes, that was my biggest reason.
See, you know, it's funny you say that. That's one of the main reasons why I kind of like threw myself out there, even though I've been mixing for about almost 6 years.
Uh-huh.
The FDA regulations in PA right now are just horrid. I mean, they're just...
I know, it's awful.
Horrible. And with recipe development and sharing recipes, I was very, very like a hermit. I never shared none of my stuff at all with nobody. Because I kind of learned from a few people that are manufacturers, and like I didn't really want to share none of my stuff that I was working on. Now, with PA regulations that were just... It was just a shitstorm in PA. I mean, so I was like, you know what, screw this. You know, I decided to start joining forums, joining Facebook groups and stuff like that, and put my stuff out there, because I look at it this way. I don't have $1.5 million sitting in the bank to where I can take one of my recipes and have it analyzed by the FDA to make sure it's okay.
Right.
So I said, to hell with it. I don't care. You know what I mean? So that's basically why I'm not in the public eye right now, because of that reason. But go ahead, Dan. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Who, me?
Yeah, you were talking about.
Well, no, I was just talking about how I got into it, and it was basically because of the regulations and basically after I got my supplies, and it took me a few months, and once I really got into it, now it's like a passion. Like I'm like in love with the mixing, the recipe development.
It's a lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a hobby, but I don't care.
Right.
I don't care if you go to a brick and mortar shop and you buy juice or like see, that's the thing, guys. You know, granted, this is the pilot right now, but we probably did about 30 pilots. I mean, we sat there,
that were like 5 hours long.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to keep under an hour for you guys. It might go over a little bit, you know, but you know, there's a lot of topics that we can get into, and we can get into that stuff in, you know, a lot of other videos that we're going to be doing live. But you know, I don't care if you go to a brick and mortar and you buy commercial juice, you know, whatever. Vaping is a lifestyle, just like any other hobby or sport or anything like that. I mean, it's just like skateboarding. It's just like whatever. It's a lifestyle. Right. That's what vaping is, and that's what makes, you know, besides getting off of cigarettes and tobacco altogether, you know, once you get into DIY, it's just a lifestyle for you, and it just envelops you. You know what I mean? And it takes a hold of you, and it's
right.
Once you get involved, it's great. You know, and the community,
yes,
that's one thing I could say about DIY.
The community is excellent. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you done there, Tim?
I'm done.
I'll repeat myself. That's okay. I'm going to repeat myself on a lot of the stuff that we're going to be doing on the show. So basically what we're going to be doing on this show is, like I said, we kind of introduced ourselves. There's a few people that aren't here today, unfortunately, but they will be on with us next week, hopefully. So basically, like to recap on what I was talking about before, you know, we were a group that we actually decided to take Wayne Walker's Mixing 202 class. And, you know, his class was very informative. You know, it was about maybe, I'm going to say an hour and a half to 2 hours long. It was money well spent.
Yes.
And what ended up happening is after the show was over, or not show, I'm sorry, the class was over, we decided to start chatting with each other on Discord. We kind of made a pact with each other. We decided to start a group of mixers. We introduced ourselves to each other. We found out what our vaping styles are, what types of builds we use, what types of recipes we like, what flavors we like, what are our go-tos, and it seemed like a lot of us were on the same page, which is very good, because there's a lot of mixers out there, you know, across the world that don't have nobody close to them, you know, to each other's recipes, to try to find somebody with the same style that you have in mixing. And we just clicked as a group, bouncing ideas off of each other. Like I said, I mentioned my go-tos, my vaping profile is I like a lot of bakeries, creams, custards. You know, I'm not too keen on the fruits, and that's one of the things that you guys aren't too heavy into, except for you, Tam.
I do like fruits. You like
your tobaccos and fruits.
Yes.
Or Static, you know, Static and Lewis. I think Lewis, he likes a little bit of fruit vapes and stuff like that. But you know, but we all seem to connect and you know, and really get along well with each other. You know. So basically, you know, like I said, we just want to give back to the community and stuff that we've learned off of each other. You know, over the past few months. So, you know, that's basically that end of it. Going forward, future shows, we're going to try to keep our shows underneath an hour. We're going to have 4 different segments. Tammy said that she's probably going to do some mod testing and stuff like that, like new equipment out there. And
yeah, I have a lot of new tanks to suck my mod that I know Skittles talked about on the show the other night. And then I just got, oh my gosh, Geek Vape. Amit Emmett. I said, damn it, Emmett. I don't know if I like you better than Suck My Mod or not. So I'm still testing that.
That's cool. Yeah, so we're gonna be doing stuff like that, and then I was gonna throw this out. I mean, we're gonna be doing a lot of recipe testing and flavor testing, flavor notes. So I got a whole line coming from Wonder Flavors up in Canada. I tell you what, Frank is like a wonderful dude. He's going to be sending that stuff down to me real soon. Hopefully by mid next week I'll have that his whole line. So that's another thing that we're going to be doing on the show is we're going to be doing a lot of flavor testing.
Yes.
We watch a lot of videos out there in the community, and it really doesn't seem that like a lot of people talk about flavors. I mean, granted, Wayne puts in a ton of work, which is a godsend. It helps everybody in the community on flavor testing. But that's the thing, like everybody's palate's different. What Wayne, what other people in the community might taste, off a certain profile, I might taste it different. You know what I mean? But we're gonna bring that to the table. We're gonna do recipe reviews. If anybody wants to throw a recipe out there, that's in the community, email us their recipe, and I will live mix it, and I will give you my review on how I feel that your recipe is, and how it vapes, and how good I think it is. What changes would I do? Does it look good? Is the percentages where I think they should be, or you guys in like folk art and tan, like you feel that that those percentages are good, stuff like that. Also, we're going to try to do a giveaway for you guys.
Yes.
So what I was thinking is, once we hit maybe 100 subscribers to our channel, it's up to the community on what they want. I know a lot of people mix by weight, so I don't know if somebody out there that maybe doesn't have a scale or something, maybe
or needs a new one, or
I was going to purchase a couple 501s, maybe to scales out, to 100 subscribers. And we'll pick three of the people that subscribed, and we'll throw them a scale. 3 lucky 8 ounce, a couple 4 ounces of your favorite concentrate. We'll throw that out to you guys that subscribe to our channel, like that. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, one aspect of the show that I hope we can really get into is mixing other people's recipes, because when I first started throwing up some recipes on all the flavors and ELR, nobody was mixing my recipes, and that's the one thing, and that's the one thing that most new mixers really want, is they want people to mix the recipe, whether it's good or bad. They just need the feedback from it so that they can get better in the future, and that's I'm hoping that we can offer that to mixers. Yeah, and I think that's one thing. Like me personally, I know I use all the flavors.com. I use his app, and I use the website. I use that platform when I mix. I've had it for, I think since we first had it up, but I really didn't pay for it, I think, until maybe last year, maybe. But I kind of I'm not knocking Lars and ELR. E-liquid recipes is not bad, but to me it's very cluttered. You know what I mean? It's so hard to find good recipe. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not good recipes, but they're so people will do tests. They'll do a one flavor test, or they'll do this and then they'll throw it on.
You have to know how to search. That's the thing. You have to be an expert searcher.
Correct. And I feel that all the flavors is more the recipes that people post on there are 90% finished or are finished.
Well, with ELR being, and that's eliquidrecipes.com, I think is what it's called, the website. you know, it's free, so anybody can post whatever they want to on there, and that's great because some people can't afford to, you know, to pay, and it's not very much at all. It's like what, $2 a month on all the flavors.
$3.
$3.
Yeah, I think it's like $2 a month, but that's if you
Pay for the year.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not that expensive, but it seems to. It seems to bring in.
Right. It's $1.99.
Okay.
It's $1.99. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
You're right.
But it seems to bring in the more experienced mixers instead of you know, and it's they're just more experienced recipes, more complex recipes, I think, on all the flavors than they are on ELR. And ELR is so cluttered. It's hard to find anything. I tried. I couldn't.
It is. And that's the thing, like I said, when I decided to get a membership to alltheflavors.com, like, you know, a lot of, like, getting back to what you were saying, folk art, a lot of people spend weeks and months these recipes. They throw them up on all the flavors, and they just sit there, and nobody goes on there and gives a review. And that's one thing about all the flavors is you can post something in the comments, but you have to be a member
to give a review.
Like, in other words, you can say, okay, in the comments, you could say your recipe was awesome. You know, I give it 4 stars. But in turn, you can't do that like on a recipe review unless you are an actual member of ATF. And that's one of the things that I think that, like, even on ELR, that's one of the things that, you know, a lot of the DIY mixers, they put out these recipes and nobody's really, you know, reviewing these recipes. And people just want some of, hey, I tried your juice, it's shit or it's good, you know. I mean, and people just want an honest opinion on how their juice tastes. I mean, granted, it might be awesome God juice to them. It's and that's one thing about us DIYers is we make juice for us. You know, granted, there's some recipes that I make that are for everybody, but I would say 80% of the juice that I mix for me. Like, what are my tastes? Like, do I taste this? So this is what I like. You know what I mean? And we just try to throw that out there to the community, and it just seems like a lot of people don't really, you know, mix up the juices. You know what I mean? And give a review. So that's one of the big things that we're going to do, you know, on this show is we're going to, you know, review a lot of recipes out there in the community and give you our feedback. You know, that way it keeps you motivated as a mixer and it keeps you interested in DIY. You know what I mean? And, you know, that's one of the things that we're going to bring to the table. Like I said, flavor testing. A lot of flavor testing. We're going to be doing a lot of flavors, you know, coming up soon, you know, and stuff like that. Anything else you want to add to that, Tammy, or as far as your reviews on stuff? I didn't mean to cut you off. I understand that you said that you were going to be doing a lot of mods, you know, a lot of like RDAs, RDTAs, you know, RTAs,
right,
stuff like that, which I think is good too. You know, because me personally, I'm stuck in my ways as far as a vapor, because I've been vaping so long. I know what I like, and I just stay with it.
Well, you're like Wayne. He likes his Hadley.
Yeah.
And that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean,
that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I am just a straight RDA guy. Like, once I have went from when I first started vaping, and I'm not going to get into the whole 9 yards. I mean, I started on those Cigalikes stuff.
Right.
Ended up moving to those cheap vape pens, you know, because they didn't really have a lot of stuff out on the market back then when I started vaping. Then I went to a sub-ohm tank, and then once I got introduced to RDAs, I've never went back. I think that the flavor, the airflow that you get off of RDAs is phenomenal. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I'm a wide open type of guy, but I've been noticing within the past like 2-3 months, like on the recipes that I've been creating, kind of like a more restrictive airflow, but still a wide open airflow to, you know, other other RDAs and stuff like that. So, I mean, my personal favorite, I used to vape Yoshi's Alliance. That was my go-to RDA. I mean, I vaped on that thing probably for like a year and a half. And then once I got introduced to the Goon 24 mil, not the what was it, the 22, I think was the first one, and then they came out with the 24 millimeter Goon. It's phenomenal.
Is that the low profile or the 1.0?
No, the low profile is actually the newest one, I believe, from it's what is it?
No, they had the low profile, and then they just recently came out with Goon 1.5, which is an updated version of the original, I think.
Yeah, see, that just goes to show on how updated I am.
See, I'm like a total geek when it comes to all of this stuff.
Yeah, like I use the the 24 millimeter Goon. It's 528 custom. It actually does it. Compared to, like, this is the only thing that I have not put down since my Alliance. Like I said, I would always get back to my Alliance. There's any Alliance now. Getting to I really love that, and it's like a, what is it, an RDTA? I haven't used it in a while. But
David, could you repeat that? Your mic was kind of cutting out there just a little bit.
Limitless. Oh, wait, hold on 1 second. You know what? I have like time out here. I haven't been using my.
Oh, that's the problem.
Yeah, let's plug in my snowball. We'll see if that works a little better.
Okay, that's the problem. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now I plugged in my snowball. What's this here? It says Russell had a question. It says, I'm loving my Geek Vape Griffin 25 AIO. Okay,
Damn it. Oh no, oh no, Geek Vape 25 all in one? What is that?
Yeah.
All in one. Oh, that's different. All in one.
We'll get back to my Goon. I'm sure you guys are hearing me a little bit better now, because actually,
yes,
for some reason, I don't know, my microphone, I must have been using the microphone on my laptop instead of my mic that I actually have.
Yeah.
But anyway, my 24 millimeter Goon, I love this thing. And like I said, the only other piece that I use is the Limitless Plus or the Limitless Classic. The build deck on the Limitless Plus is phenomenal. I love it. It's easy to build on. It doesn't leak. I've used other RDTAs on the market, and they all seem to leak. But the Limitless, I have not yet to have it leak on me. In the flavor and airflow. See, that's the thing. With the airflow, I wasn't getting the airflow unless I had. There's a couple. I think there was the BMFT by Vapor Clouds. That was a huge tank. I can't even remember. God, I bought that thing probably like a year ago. It's a 30 millimeter tank. It's a juice monster, and it just drinks the juice. But you had to wick that thing a certain way, or it would just leak all over the place. And I just stopped using it for that reason. And I'm real like OCD on the way my RDAs and that sit on my mod, and it kind of hung over because it's so big. That's one of the reasons why I don't use my Buddha, because it just hangs over, and I can't stand that. So, you know, I don't use those two. But the Limitless Plus and the Limitless Classic, the Limitless Classic is a little bit better. It comes with actually 2 different build decks. It's been so long since I used it. I'm trying to think of the, if you can help me out here. I actually have the RDA, the build deck on there that's on the Limitless.
Is that
it's on the tip of my tongue.
It's not a postless?
Well, no, yeah, it's got the 2 posts. As like I said, it's just been so long since I used either one. If somebody in the chat,
is it like the Geek Vape?
No,
like the Griffin 25 Griffin, that kind of deck.
No, I'm gonna switch my cameras real quick, guys, and I'm gonna show you. By the time I switch my cameras, I'll probably remember what.
Okay, while he's doing that, let me just I didn't really tell a little bit about myself. It'll take 2 minutes, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Okay. One thing about me that a lot of people aren't aware of is that I had a brain hemorrhage. It will be 9 years ago in October. And because of that, I had to have brain surgery. I am so cool because I have 4 metal plates in my head here on the right side, and I have 20 titanium screws. So if you ever need some extra titanium, I have it right in here. But because of the swelling and the bleeding in the brain and the surgery, it caused me to have a massive stroke. And because of that, I recovered like extremely well. And I'm very fortunate because I am alive, number one. And number two, I can function. I can drive a car. I have to take some seizure medication and stuff like that. But I am very fortunate. But my left arm does not function. It can work to hold a bottle maybe for me, or to hold a screwdriver to wrap wire around. But I mix my own juice with my right hand, and I wrap my own coils and do all of that good stuff with one hand, with my right hand. Yeah. So
that must be very difficult to do with just one hand.
Well, it was intimidating at first. I think that's why it took me so long to get into the DIY part of the coils and everything, and RDAs and RTAs, RGAs, all of that good stuff. It took me a long time to get into that because I was intimidated by that. Yeah. But what's interesting, I was in a group the other day. I can't remember this guy's name that has a Saturday morning chat. There's a girl who builds her own coils who's blind.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I was like, kudos to you, girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is amazing. She can just feel it. But I'm like, how can you glow your coils? Somebody's got to help you do that. Yeah. I mean, because you can't feel it.
Yeah.
But anyway, she can still wrap it and do it. But I just wanted to tell everybody a little bit.
Well, like I remembered, it's actually the Velocity style deck. Like I said, it's been so long since I used.
That's what I was trying to. I had that name in my head. I'm sorry.
It's been a while. So this is the Limitless Plus. Like, it's kind of confusing. The Limitless Classic is actually their newest ones. The last time I've actually bought in any of the devices, but the thing doesn't leak, anything like that. Oh, you have one too.
Yeah.
Okay, but. So basically what it is it's sort of like I said, the build deck on it is the same as this is the Velocity right here, which I have. Yeah. It's the same build deck. It's easy to build on. You know, the only thing I don't like about the Velocity is I love it. The airflow is where I want it, but it's a pain in the ass as far as like putting everything back together. Because it got so many parts that you have to screw, and
it does.
Oh yeah, I can't.
Pain in the ass. You know, I mean, like I said, I love the. I just love the Velocity deck. But anyhow, those are the two things that I enjoy until something other comes along that I hear reviews about, and I'm very picky, like on my equipment that I use. I usually hear from a guy. His name's Nate. We call him Big Nate. He's a fellow mixer that lives by me, and he's always buying new equipment like you, Tam. And he goes, "Oh, you got to try this." And I'm like, "Ah, dude, you're full of shit. There ain't nothing better than my Alliance or my Goon." He's like, I'm telling you. And then sometimes I'll break down and I'll buy the piece of equipment, and then I'll usually fall in love with it. He's pretty good at telling me, you know, what's good, this, that, and the other. You know. But so other than that, like I said, we just want to bring a lot to the community. Like I said, this is just our first live. It's just a pilot test. You know, we're really not going to get into too much information. We're kind of just shooting the shit on what we're going to be bringing to the table as far as DIY in the community. We try to give back a little.
We can talk. We can talk just a little bit about our Facebook page.
Sure.
We have it up and running. It's just go to Facebook and search for DIY Mixers Crew, and you can join the group. We'll be posting a lot of stuff in there over time. We just got it up and running just a few days ago, actually. and we've got, you know,
Yes.
a few members, and we hope they enjoy it, and they can post their recipes in there. They can post comments or questions, and we'll try to get back to them.
Okay. So moving on, you know, real quick, Steve,
Yeah.
you know, if you could bring our mission statement on what we're about. You know, if you want to read that to people, I really think that that speaks words on to what we're about and what we're bringing to the community.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Create, inspire, and learn. Just a crew of people from all over the world that DIY e-juice in the vape community. We want to share our passion for DIY and vaping with everyone, and along the way we hope to inspire others to share our passion. We continue to learn more every day and hope you are inspired to learn too, so you can create your own e-juice. How's that?
Cool. Awesome. That's awesome. Loving it.
Beautiful.
Loving it. Loving it. Real quick, actually, what we were gonna do, Tammy kind of let the cat out of the bag. We were gonna mix your stone recipe in a few minutes.
Yes.
That we posted on ATF on alltheflavors.com.
Yeah.
Just so happens that I have all the ingredients, and I'm gonna mix it up live here and
All right.
tell you how I like it.
Yeah. I have it already. I'm sorry. I already mixed it the other day, and I have it in my squonker.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
So you mix it, and we can talk about it. So.
Yeah, you know what? I tell you what, Folk Art's recipes are really good.
Yes, they are. He's very good.
Appreciate it.
I think that me and him like really share the same palate when it comes to vaping. I feel that, you know, the time and work that he puts into them, and when he releases them, they're very good. They're very enjoyable. I would say about 99% of them are all-day vapes for me. His waffles banging. I actually, we did a test pilot last weekend, but it was just private for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a live mix of his Waffle Me This that he has posted on All the Flavors. It's a public recipe. And I made 30 mils, and then 2 days later, the ingredients were still sitting there. Made another 30 mils, and then I made another 30. So I went through 120 mils. I didn't even let it steep, and I vaped all week. It was good. So,
That's
but
awesome.
I had a few. Oh, that's not a problem. I had probably about 15 mils left of my custard that was sitting because I'm actually waiting on sweetener. I ran out of TFA sweetener because I've been making. Yeah, I've been making probably about 400 or 500 mil batches at a time of my custard, and just people that I know that vape, it's like they're driving me crazy for it, and I've just been giving it to them. You know what I mean? So, you know, I ran out of sweetener, so I got an order coming from Bull City. I call it Bull City Vapors, but it's Bull City Flavors now. I guess they had to change their name because of the FDA regs and stuff. But according to USPS, the tracking, it should be tomorrow. So basically what I did, which some of you mixers out there can do this. This is a kind of a tip. If you do run out of a sweetener or one of those flavors that doesn't really need steeping, like say a sweetener or acetylpyrazine or, you know, stuff like that, those are concentrates that really don't require steeping. You know, you just throw them in the mix. They stay sweet from the time you put them in the mix to the time you have your steep. So they stay in the mix. So I actually mixed up, you know, 400 mils, I think, of the custard today without the sweetener. And I'm just going to add it tomorrow when it comes in and give it a 2 week, you know, it's 2 weeks. I mean, I posted on ATF. I did post on ATF that it was a 30-day steep, which, and that's another thing that we can talk about like later in other shows, but I'm going to touch on it real quick before we mix Steve's recipe. You know, there's a lot of controversy out there with Shake and Vape recipes. I mean, granted, my name's Shake and Vape 007. That was just the name that I had to come up with at the time, because 90% of the time when I would sit there and type up a name, already been used. So I'm like, all right, so Shake and Vape 007, good enough. So, you know, a lot of people, you know, get that misconception. They get all pissed off when they see a recipe that says 2 weeks steep. or 3 weeks, and that turns a lot of people off too. You know, my philosophy is if it tastes like shit after the mix, it's going to taste like shit in 3 to 4 weeks. But I mean, when I mean like in 3 or 4 weeks, it's going to taste like shit. Like you can tell, like when you just get that thing off the scale and you vape it, and it's just so horrid. Like, you know, being the mixer that I am, I know it's going to be shit in 4 weeks. But if it does have promise, there are certain concentrates and stuff that do come out later on in the steep, you know. And there was a lot of chat in the community. I was saying, oh, fuck, there ain't no such thing, this, that, and the other. But when, you know, people are putting their art out there, you know, they want you to experience what they experienced when they made this recipe. So if somebody says a 2-week steep, okay, they took the time to make the recipe and try it, you know, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, a week, you know, 3 days, 4 days, another week. You know, they put that time in there to say, okay, and at that 2-week time frame, this recipe had the best flavor. Now, to beginner mixers, like they like just getting off commercial juice, because we all know as mixers, like Folk Art and Tam, you know, since we've been mixing for a few years, we know that DIY is except for a select few, is night and day from commercial juice.
Oh, commercial yes, absolutely.
They use a ton of sweetener, you know, a ton of like super sweet, a ton of sucralose, and they're, you know, because basically the way I see it is they do that to cover up their mistakes, like on a recipe that they're creating. They just want to get it out there. I want to use the least amount of ingredients, this, that, and the other. I don't care if it's off a little bit on something. Throw the sweetener on there. It covers up the mistakes that are in the recipe. Because if you have a well-balanced recipe, you don't need that sweetener in that recipe to get
right. No,
you know. And there are other concentrates out there. Like I said in other shows, we'll get into that deeper. There are concentrates out there that already have sweetener in it, to where you don't need to put that super sweet or that sucrose or that, you know, that EM, that, you know, that into the juice to really change that flavor, or to you know, change the mistakes and stuff in the juice. But from a DIY standpoint, you know, people, they're putting their art out there, and they want you to experience what they experienced in that 2 weeks. Like, you know what I mean? It's subtle differences that we taste, like I said, as seasoned mixers. We taste those subtle differences, but for a new mixer to come on, they really might not grasp that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where, you know, this custard or this cream, you know, might sit at the top or bottom of a recipe. They might not notice what we notice on our palates, you know, because this is what we're going for. And a lot of people get pissed off, or they get turned away. I'm not mixing this up because it's a, you know, it's a 2 week steep or a 3 week steep or 4 week steep or whatever. But getting back to my custard, like I said, at 30 days, it's the best it's going to get. You know what I mean? But that's what I put. You know what I mean? But at the 2 week period, you can vape it. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's decent after that. But getting back to your stone recipes that you're going to be coming out with, I heard you got some flack from fellow mixers and you know, and other chat stuff like that about that. But
yeah, it may have been just a little bit of trolling. You know, it didn't bother me. It's, you know, I mean, you know, if the guy would have mixed it up and said that it was shit, then, you know, that would have been better than what he did.
Right.
But,
in about 10 minutes, I might say it's shit too. But
that's true. That's true. And that would be okay.
But like, honestly though, I'm so strawberried out because like that was my quest. Like that's like my thing. Like I love strawberry vapes. Like that is my knight in shining armor. Like, you know what I mean? I love strawberry, and there's just so many different strawberry recipes that I have done over the few years that I've been mixing. I've seen it all. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen this, that, and the other. And when I kind of looked at your mix, I'm like, it kind of reminds me of Mother's Milk. I don't think I told you that, but like if you see some of the Mother Milk's clones or the Mother Milk recipes out there, I kind of like, if you want to kind of like, we could talk about your recipe now since we're talking about it now. If you want to kind of like, I don't know if you could split it or just, you know, put it up on the screen.
Yeah,
but
I can probably put it up on the screen here.
When I seen that TPA sweet cream.
Yeah.
What was it? Capella Sweet Strawberry, I believe it was.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and Real Flavors strawberry super concentrate.
Well, that's new. That's new to the game. A lot of people have been using that recently, and the reason being, I could touch on it a little bit while you're bringing that recipe up. Is the thing with strawberries, especially Capella's, a couple other manufacturers out there, strawberries tend to fade like crazy. Like you'll get like maybe a week or two out of them. It might be just my palate, but they seem to fade over time, and you really kind of lose that strawberry in the mix, and it's kind of like the creams. Like if you're mixing a strawberry with like a custard or a cream, when that custard finally develops and comes through in a mix and it steeps, it kind of like overpowers the strawberry, and the strawberry kind of loses its essence in the mix. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's the thing with Real Flavors. When they came out with their strawberry, it hangs out for a while. You know what I mean? It doesn't fade as much, in the mix as I feel. Like, I mean, others might find it but I feel that Real Flavors sticks around a little longer, say, than your TPA. And stuff like that. So basically, just by looking at your recipe, besides the Real Flavor strawberry, it kind of reminded me of mother's milk, like a mother's milk. Right. And then I seen you had the Capella's New York cheesecake in there. Capella sweet strawberry, which I'm assuming, like, to me, I love Capella Street Strawberry, and Folkart, and I told you 1,000 times, everybody loves what is it? TFA's ripe strawberry. I can't stand it. I mean, I could stand it, but it's not my like number one fan when it comes to strawberries. Like, to me, it really, when you first mix it, it literally tastes like a strawberry that's been sitting out for 3 days and has fuzz growing on it. Like, that's what I get off of. Seriously, that's what I get off a TFA strawberry or TPA strawberry. Well, just to clarify a lot of things to the new mixers, the seasoned mixers know that TFA and TPA are the same company. So if I say TFA, it's TPA too, because sometimes depending on what vendor you go through, it might see like the Flavor Apprentice on it, or it might say, the perfumer's apprentice on it, but they're the same
signature.
Yeah, they're the same TFA TPA. So when you see me mention that, it's the same company. But anyhow, getting back to the strawberry, I really think that it tastes like just rotted strawberries to me. Now it does steep out, but I have to really use it at low percentages. If I use it anything over like 4%. Like, I can't, it's disgusting to me. I'm sorry. Like, I can't do TFA ripe strawberry. I can't do it.
I'm really enjoying the Real Flavor strawberry. Not to be confused with Real Flavor strawberry Legacy, which was in VG, which sucks. This is a super concentrate, so it's in PG. It's so much better. I mean, there's no comparison. No comparison.
Wait, Real Flavors. I thought it was suspended in alcohol. Let me grab my bottle.
No, not the super concentrate.
Not the super concentrate.
Oh, so in the recipe you used which Real Flavor strawberry did you use?
The strawberry super concentrate.
Oh, you did. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the super concentrate I thought used alcohol. Let me. I got it in my hand.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch cameras real quick. The problem with my camera gone black eyes is for some reason I can't disable my laptop camera for some reason. I don't know why. I've tried. I even disabled it, and for some reason the communication software that we're using doesn't let me take that camera off. But I don't know if you can. It's kind of really small.
Turn it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a real flavor strawberry here, and it real small. I'm going to take it away from the camera real quick, and I'm just going to get back to me.
Let me get mine.
So basically, when you look at it, that's a lot of things with real flavors. That's okay. With real flavors, concentrates. A lot of them are suspended in VG, but their newer line is in PG. Or I'm sorry, yeah, PG.
Yeah, does yours say super
alcohol.
concentrate under the strawberry?
Yeah, it's suspended in alcohol.
Okay, so yeah, we have the same one.
Concentrates are suspended in alcohol. It's not propylene glycol.
Okay.
But like, and to be honest with you, there's no really such thing as a super concentrate. I don't give a crap what anybody says. It's not a super concentrate. I think that's just a name that they give it. Yeah. And I think that I've been noticing a lot of people that call them super concentrates is because they use alcohol instead of propylene glycol as the carrying agent in the concentrate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so that is strawberry that you use.
Yes, it is.
Concentrate. Yeah, that's another thing too for your new mixers. When you're mixing with flavors suspended in alcohol, you can't let them breathe for like a couple hours before you put the cap on. Let that alcohol evaporate out of the mix. So because if you do a shake and bake with alcohol-based flavorings, you will get a harsh, like, kind of throat hit from that alcohol. Like, you know what I mean? And it will evaporate, after a few hours or, a couple hours or whatever. But getting back to your recipe, was you able to get that up, folk?
Yes. Okay, we're showing the recipe.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We're not showing the recipe.
That's okay. We're showing something.
We were, but
okay, now we are. Now we are. There we are.
We are at 8 o'clock. Like I said, we're going to try to keep this episode under an hour. I mean, this is our first test pilot, so we might go 10, 15 minutes over. I know people got lives, and they don't really want to see us sit there and bullshit all day. But
and Game of Thrones premieres tonight, the new season.
You know, I never really. I tried to watch that show like one time or two times, and I mean, I am like a real sci-fi like geek.
Oh, it's awesome! You got to start from the beginning.
Yeah, like me, I'm like, you might think I'm like dumb, but I really get into Stargate, SG-1.
No, that's not dumb.
Oh, I love that show.
That is like my all-time favorite sci-fi. That X-Files, I can watch X-Files all day. Like, I don't care if it's the first episode or 10th. The 9th season was kind of shitty. I love it when they did the reboot, when they came out with the, I guess you want to call it, what, the 10th season or whatever. Like, that was pretty cool. Alcohol okay, I got a question from Russell. He said, does the alcohol make a huge difference? No, it really doesn't make a huge difference, Russell. It's just what they use to carry the flavor. I mean, I'm not a chemist, so I don't know. I'm assuming that, like, when you see some flavors, I mean, I might be wrong. When you see some flavors that are suspended in alcohol, it might be just, like, I want to just throw it out there saying it's easier for them to mix the chemical compounds for it to mix better. Like, you know what I mean? For it to dissolve better, I would assume. You know what I mean? To make the concentrate. Like, that's the only thing that I can think of. I mean, we could probably do some research on it, on why certain concentrates use alcohol versus propylene glycol. I mean, that could be a topic that we can talk about later on down the line, Russell. That's a good question. I'll do some research on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down because I have heard that sometimes if you have alcohol, to leave the lid off of your.
Yeah, it evaporates. Yeah.
Yeah, to let the alcohol evaporate off.
Yeah.
After you've mixed for just like an hour or so, but we should research that. That's
but like I said, I'm assuming. I'm not saying I'm correct, but I'm assuming it's just when the chemists mix that, the powders or whatever that they use and the chemical compounds that they mix with. I'm assuming that it's probably because it dissolves quicker in the solution with alcohol versus propylene glycol. That would be what I would assume. And he also asked, what does that do to the mix? It really doesn't do anything to the mix, Russell, because the alcohol that they're using, it will evaporate. And same thing when you vape it, it just evaporates off. But like I said, when you first mix it, you will kind of get like a little harshness to it until that alcohol kind of like, you know, evaporates. And it's funny that you bring that up. We brought it up about the alcohol. When I first started mixing, there was a lot of places out there that used like vodka and stuff like that in their mixes. I've seen people use vinegar, like cider vinegar, alcohol. Like when I first started mixing, I'm looking at these recipes and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, they're putting vodka in there, you know. And like the question I asked was, does that get you drunk if you're from like inhaling vodka or whatever? And it doesn't, because I guess when the coils heat up, it creates the vapor, and it just, you know, there's a term for it, but it just gets rid of that alcohol. And chemically, I don't know, Russell. Like I said, I'm not a chemist, so I really don't know. That's something that I'm going to do some research on this week, and we'll get back to you on that. But was you able to get that recipe up?
Yes,
Folk art?
it's up.
Okay. Oh, okay, I see it. It's up.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's not up for us, but it's up for the chat, but it's not up for for us. Okay, so I can't even see it because what I'm watching on YouTube is different. So I'm going to pull up my other device, and I'm just going to go on your recipe because I already have it loaded. Okay, so basically you got the now question I have for you. When I looked at your recipe, I seen that you use TPA DX sweet cream.
Yes.
And what was the reason behind that?
Well, okay, so
is it because you didn't want the decatones in there, or?
Well, that was probably part of it, but it wasn't the main reason. I wanted the DX sweet cream. To me, now it has a very potent smell. If you smell it straight out of the bottle,
it's a butyric acid.
Yeah, it's
right. No, not butyric. Is that what it is?
Well, I'm not sure, but it really smells kind of bad. It really does. But
yeah, it smells like throw up.
But so does say like a blue cheese. But you don't. But you know, people that like blue cheese, they put it on with other foods and stuff, and it's great. So when you dilute it down low enough, you know, I don't get that. Some people may. Some people say that they get a kind of a dirty sock smell from it, aroma from it. I don't really get that, especially at this low of a percentage. But it's a really deep, creamy. It has a creamy texture, but it's not as heavy as say like a cheesecake. Now, if I didn't want to use the sweet cream, I would have probably had to have used another cream, maybe Capella sweet cream or something like that. But I would have had to up the New York cheesecake too to get that richness, that denseness. But that would have changed the whole profile. Instead of being a strawberries and cream, it would be a strawberry cheesecake. So I thought this would work well with it.
Okay. Now I'm just looking up the MSDS on the sweet cream. I can't remember. I might be wrong on that butyric acid that they use in there. But moving on to the New York cheesecake. Now the New York cheesecake, just by looking at your recipe, you know, I do see 7% flavoring, which everything's kind of in sync on where it should be. Sweetener 0.25. Like me personally, I like even with your waffle recipe. I can't remember what the percentage was. It 0.5% in your waffle?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I dropped it down to a quarter.
Right.
Instead of like the 0.15, like when I mixed 30 mils at a time on a scale, I think it was like 1.5 it called for, and I went down to like 1. And it really brought out the waffle more.
Yeah.
With it, with less for my palate. You know what I mean?
And
but that, to each his own.
Yeah, and I also put in that recipe description that, you know, it was a sweet recipe, so that if anybody wanted to drop that sweetness down, you know, they could take it down to 0.25 or even less if they want it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, as far as using the sweet strawberry, and I noticed in your other recipes, like your strawberry stones that you used, the Capello's sweet strawberry and Real Flavors strawberry, and the combination you had there. If you want to talk about that instead of using other strawberries.
Well, I had never tried Real Flavors until Tammy talked me into buying a couple. So
Okay.
yeah, so I bought it, and I did a back of the hand test, and and it's like, wow, I need to try this in something, because all the other strawberries that I had made, I'd used TPA strawberry and Cap sweet strawberry, actually TPA strawberry ripe, and it just seemed like that it always tasted like a strawberry candy. And,
Okay.
And I'm not really a.
But TFA. Now,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
now that's, like, not to interrupt you, but, like, getting back to the ripe and then the regular TFA, what is it? Is it Red Touch? Is that what it is? Or is that a different?
I've never used Red Touch, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, like TFA lines, like I said, besides the sweet strawberry, I get candy from them. I don't get an authentic strawberry taste of it,
Right.
Okay.
So I thought I would go with the RF strawberry, and add in a little bit of Cap sweet strawberry, not much, just to give it a little more sweetness, because the RF strawberry is a pretty strong strawberry. I felt
Yes,
like
it is.
It needed just a little more sweetness to it. So, and I like Cap sweet strawberry as long as it's kept fairly low. I don't like it at 4 or 5%.
Well, you know what though? What I found though is like TFA strawberry, like not the ripe strawberry, but the regular strawberry that they have.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Real Flavors, but Real Flavors strawberry I think is a little bit more on point to an authentic strawberry versus an authentic strawberry versus a candied. It's kind of got like the same properties, but it's a little different, in the aspect of it. Now with the New York cheesecake, I seen you using in there also. It's you kind of get the same chemical compounds in the New York cheesecake as you do in the sweet cream.
Yes.
Now, was you doing the cheesecake? Well, let's back it up a little bit. You got TFA graham cracker, or what is it? TPA cheesecake graham cracker crust.
No. I didn't.
No. I know. What I'm saying is TPA graham cracker crust. You get, for me, I get more of a. See, what I'm saying is I'm kind of like reviewing your recipe on why you use New York cheesecake versus like TFA cheesecake graham cracker crust, because I get more of a graham cracker. I don't get no cheesecake whatsoever out of TFA, or I'm sorry, I don't get no cheese, I would say, out of TFA graham cracker crust as I do with New York cheesecake.
Yeah.
Was you?
Yeah. Well, like in Skittles, God Milk recipe. That's what he used.
Yes.
He used cheesecake graham cracker, and I'm sure it works fine in that. But with this particular recipe, I didn't want really any type of a bakery or crust or anything. I wanted it to be just a straight strawberries and cream, and so that's kind of what I was going for by using just the New York cheesecake. Not much of it, just enough to kind of pair it with the sweet cream to make it just a little more thicker, a little more dense, but not too dense to make it a cheesecake. Just because you use a cheesecake flavoring in a recipe doesn't mean that it's going to be cheesecake, because it's just it depends on what you pair it with and the percentages that you use.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense to me. I mean, some of the new mixers out there, we'll get to that point and we'll share that insight for you. We'll walk you through a lot of stuff. So for a lot of you new mixers out there, feel free to subscribe to our channel. I mean, being that we're mixers and that, we've only been mixing for a few years. I mean, there are by far greater mixers out there than we are. But you know, for you new people out there, don't feel that like intimidated, or don't feel that, you know, intimidated to ask a question, because, you know, we're here for that. We're going to be here for new mixers all the way up to intermediate to where we're at, you know, this, that, and the other. So don't start, ask any type of question if you want, and we'll answer them to the best of our knowledge. Or just like Russell, he was talking about the in the chat, he was talking about the alcohol being used in certain flavor concentrates. You know, we'll research that, and then our next show we'll touch on that. You know, on why do flavor manufacturers put alcohol as a carrying agent instead of glycol in their flavor concentrates. So I just calibrated my scale. You guys know, and some of the new mixers, they still might mix by syringes, but I mix by weight. I don't know what you, I know you got, but what do you got? What do you mix with, Tam? You mix syringe or weight?
Oh, let me get off mute. I do weight. I have the same scale.
Okay, the 501 American weight scale. Okay.
Yes, I have that same one. Yes,
okay.
So I do weight.
Yeah. When I first started mixing, it was suggested to me to use syringes and things, and I bought a whole bag of syringes, and I made a few mixes like that, and then I saw Wayne on DIY or Die doing it by weight, and I thought, why in the hell am I using syringes?
Right.
Yeah.
Especially when there's several apps out there where you just plug in the percentage of what you want, and it'll automatically tell you, you know, how many grams that is.
Grams, yes.
Correct.
So, I mean, it was so much easier. Yeah.
Well, that's one thing about why I like all the flavors.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you could do it in ELR. I think, but all the flavors interface, I think, is very easy to use. When you hit the mix, it gives you the milliliters and the grams, like right there. So it gives you both on what you want to, like, if you're going to do a mix.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I like it. Now, Folkart, I don't know if you can do a split screen on my scale and your recipe, because we're going to mix that up real quick.
Okay, let me see if I can do that here.
That's okay. While you're doing that, I'll talk about what I'm going to do. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm using the 501 scale, which a lot of you mixers out there probably use. If you use syringes, that's fine. You know, just trying to get this centered for you guys. Like I said, feel free. If I'm assuming that Folkart's going to put the recipe up from ATF, and it's going to show both. So if you guys mix with syringes, or you could just,
you know, I can put the link in here
put the link
too.
up in put the link up in Discord. People want to check it out also.
Well, I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I meant, the chat, not Discord. So I'm going to mix up his recipe, and I'm going to be testing it on the Derringer Mini. I call it the Derringer Mini because they have other Derringer models, and it's going to be on the Rouleau, J-Buzz Rouleau with the DNA chip. I'm just going to just a basic 0.3 sub-ohm build, you know, 24 gauge Canthal A1 wire, 6 wraps. It's super basic. That's my go-to. That's what I vape on. Now, real quick, for those of you out there that are watching, I was a 90-10, 80-20 kind of guy on my PG-VG ratio when I make my mixes. Everybody mixes different, whatever you guys want to do. I know Folkart from his recipes, his style is max VG. So if he's using 7% flavor in this recipe, he will max out that vegetable glycerin. He won't add any PG. So actually his mix will be a 93-7. But my vaping style has kind of leaned towards more of a 75-25. I find that that's my happy median. I have a few recipes that I will do a 70-30, but I feel that with that propylene glycol at that 30%, I kind of get dehydrated and dried out a little bit. So I kind of like I'm in between that 80-20, 75-25 range. I get more flavor, you know, because of the more propylene glycol in the recipe. Kind of like, you know, it's more in my face. Still working on that, Don?
No, it's up. We got it.
Okay, I have the link posted too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have like 5 devices going here at once, so I'm not really up to speed on the YouTube, so I apologize for that. Okay, so we're gonna mix this up. Very simple, guys. This is a very simple recipe, like in my book. I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't work hard on it to get his ratios that he wanted right on his flavors. But for you new mixers out there, there's not that many ingredients. See, that's another thing, like for mixers out there. Keeping your recipe simple to achieve what your end goal is what you're trying to do. I mean, there are a few recipes out there where you'll see 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, or like my custard has like, I think 11 different flavor profiles in it. But there's a reason behind that. But this recipe is a simple strawberries and cream recipe. And I'm sure it's good. I have not vaped it yet, so, and believe me, Folkart will tell you, I'll give you my honest opinion.
Absolutely.
If it's total shit after I mix it, I'll tell you straight up. So. But after I do mix it, I will leave a review later on.
I have vaped
on all the
it.
flavors. What's that?
I have vaped it. I'm vaping it now, actually.
What are your thoughts on that?
Personally, on all the flavors, this is one of my favorite strawberry and cream vapes that I've mixed.
Okay. What ratio? Did you follow his 97 7, or did you do your own personal touch?
Oh, you know, I've got to be my own pain in the rear person. Hold on.
Well, no, like I said, I'm going to mix it at 75-25, because let me tell you this. That's another thing. If somebody's used to vaping a 75-25 or a 60-40 or a 50-50 or like Folkart, he's used to vaping at max VG, his palate is used to those percentages on his palate. Yeah. Like my palate is used to the 75-25 that I vape. So I will get that representation on what he was trying to do with this recipe by mixing it to 75-25. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
And just by looking at the recipe, I'll know that being at 6%, like if it was some crazy, you know, number on his flavors, I'd be like, what the hell? Like, you know, I'd mention it. Right?
I actually did do max VG.
Oh, you did a 93.7 on it.
Well, I just clicked max VG, so yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so your first ingredient, like I said, we kind of talked about it. We did a TPA DX sweet cream.
Yes.
2.25% on that. Let me move my flavors out a little bit because I'm going to be getting in the way of my scale. Now, for you mixers out there, I don't know what you guys use, Folkart and Tam. I don't know what you guys use as far as your nicotine. Now, let me express this 100%. Nicotine's dangerous.
Yes.
You know? And like me personally, I don't always wear gloves, which I should. Okay, 100. Like I use 100 milligram nicotine.
I do too.
You don't want to get that stuff on your skin. Now, here's the thing: if you was to vape 100 milligram versus getting the dermal absorption in your skin with 100, it's totally different. It's not good. You will get sick. So you always want to protect yourself when you're using nicotine. Especially concentrates too. A lot of people don't know that. If you read the MSDS sheets on flavor concentrates, it tells you that you should have a well-ventilated room. You should have protective gloves on when you're messing with concentrates, because you do absorb them in your skin. So 9 times out of 10, I do wear protective gloves when I work with nicotine. So, and that's, like I said, you want to do that. So, okay, the first flavor, you got a 2.25%. You got TPA DX sweet cream. I'm going to be mixing up a 30 ml batch today. You guys hear me okay on the mic because my back's kind of like torn.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so we got that at 2.25%. So I'm mixing by weight. That's going to be 0.68 on the DX cream. You know what? Let me shake this up. But that's another thing too, guys. Even your nicotine, you don't have to shake your VG, your vegetable glycerin, or your propylene glycol, but especially your flavor concentrates too.
Yes.
I know that you don't have. Some people say you don't have to, but I do. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's separation in them, but I shake my concentrates too.
I shake everything.
Just to be safe. But yeah, I do too. And I know that they say, depending on what manufacturer you use for your nicotine, they say that you shouldn't have to shake your nicotine if it's well mixed from the manufacturer that you get it from. But you never know. So in case there's if it wasn't mixed well enough, or if there was some sort of separation, if it wasn't mixed, because it will separate if it wasn't mixed well. Yeah. If there's some separation coming from the manufacturer, you always want to like a good shake when you get your nicotine. So we're going to be at 0.68. Like I said, I'm mixing up a 30 ml batch of 12 strawberries. And how do you pronounce that again, Cole?
The name of the recipe? Aether.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Ether.
Isn't that the stuff that makes people pass out?
Yeah, it is. It's actually in reference to one of the Infinity Stones from the Marvel universe. So,
okay.
So it's a recipe that's going to be part of my Infinity Stone line. So y'all can make fun of me if you want to. I don't care.
No,
I think it's awesome.
Any ideas, any teasers on what you're going to be coming up with next recipe, or is that kind of like a?
Yeah, there's a couple different ones. Each stone has a different color. So the Ether Stone is portrayed as red in the comics, and so I thought a strawberry and cream would be good for that. Some of the other stones have more of a one is a blue color, so I'm going to try to incorporate. I did a recipe a few weeks ago. It's actually probably been about a month, and then it was blue ice, and it was basically what does the color blue taste like, and so I made up this recipe, and it's pretty good. But I'm probably going to do something with that, change it around just a little bit, and make it interesting. And that'll be one of the stones.
Blue ice. Blue ice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it won't be that recipe, but it'll be maybe I'll use probably some of those ingredients in it.
Okay, I see what you mean. Now, are you going to be going for a cooling effect in that, or?
Well, the blue ice does actually have a cold. It has a cooling agent in it. It's a polar blast. But my recipe for the Infinity Stone line probably won't have that in it, because I'm not really a big fan of menthols or cooling agents or anything like that. This was just more of an experiment, seeing if I could come up with something that was cold that tasted blue, whatever that means.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of getting on the not to interrupt you, Tam, but getting onto the polar blast, I've used that a few times. Like that, we actually, as a group, were trying to work on a frozen yogurt recipe. I mean, mine's not bad, but I wouldn't say it was an epic fail. But we spent so much time on that. That's what was holding us back on the stuff we're doing now. I feel that, I mean, mine's vapable, but to me, it's not really worth releasing. I know Lewis from Portugal, his recipe is pretty decent. I think maybe once, I don't know if he has an account on all the flavors yet, but I think once he gets up and running on all the flavors, I think that he will be releasing his frozen yogurt recipe. And from what I remember, he was doing the, wasn't the pineapple. Was it the pineapple, or was it the?
I think it was the apricot. Yeah, the
apricot. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I don't remember which one it was. So we got. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. We got 2% Capella Street strawberry. So far, like I said, I'm mixed up a 30 ml batch, but these percentages, you got TPA, DX sweet cream at 2.25%, Capella's New York Cheesecake at 1%. Real Flavors Strawberry Super Concentrate at 1.5%. Capella's Super Sweet at 0.25%. Now we're actually on Capella's Sweet Strawberry at 2%, which is going to be a 0.6 on the 501. Now, if you don't mind me asking, like, I don't think I've ever asked you guys this question on a Discord or whatever. What milligram nicotine do you guys actually use?
3.
You use 3? No, I'm saying
Sorry, what?
when you mix. When you mix.
I'm sorry, say that again.
When you mix, what's your concentration on your nicotine? What milligram?
Oh, it's
Like I use
100.
100%.
Yeah, it's 100
Okay.
milligrams per liter, and so I use 3% nicotine though in my juices. That's what I was talking
Yeah, me too. Do you
get VG or PG?
about.
That's what I was just getting ready to.
I actually get VG. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah,
See, I was going to do the VG.
I do too.
The only
No, I get PG. Never mind.
Propylene, you get propylene glycol. Now, the only thing I
Yes.
was worried about is depending on some of my 90-10 recipes, that I wasn't going to get that off of 100% propylene glycol, with the nicotine. But being that as a mixer, I've grown to start using my percentages lower in mixes. Like when I first started mixing, I seemed to go a little higher on the flavors, you know what I mean? But I found that with a 50-50 blend, 50% propylene glycol, 50% vegetable glycerin, 100 milligram, I can more or less make most of my recipes than I need to make. Like, you know what I mean? But if you be a max PG, that's fine with me.
Well, it probably wouldn't make that big of a difference. I have used PG based.
It's just easier to shake, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little harder to get it mixed up. Sometimes I leave my nicotine in the refrigerator, and so when I start to mix, I'll set it out for a few hours and just really give it a good shake, because when it's in the refrigerator, sometimes the nicotine tends to settle to the bottom. That's what I've been told. So you really have to shake it up. With the PG, it doesn't really separate as bad, I don't think.
Now, you see that on, I don't know if he showed the recipe, like my recipe shows for 1.02 nicotine paste. Now, like I said, for all you new people out there, you're veteran mixers, you're guys that have been mixing for a year or so, you know the dangers of nicotine. You want to make sure you keep that stuff away from pets, kids, all that stuff. It's bad news. You know what I mean? It's not bad. And I know I have two small young boys. I mean, they know not to get next to my stuff. He doesn't know how to read. My 9-year-old does. So I make sure I put danger on there, so that way he knows
Very good.
the vicinity of it, not to touch it. But I usually not like more times than not, I keep it locked. You know what I mean? I keep the stuff out of reach of kids and pets. Because, I mean, to be honest, folks, you will die. It's as simple as that. You don't want to fuck around with nicotine. You'll die.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially 100 milligram. I mean, maybe not adults. You might get real nicotine sick, but with children and pets around, it's nothing to mess around with. I keep my nicotine literally locked up in my gun cabinet. I mean, treat it as a lethal weapon. I mean, that's basically what it is.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we got all the flavors in there. Okay, the nicotine, I'm just going to shake that up a little bit to give it a little bit of stir. Okay. Okay, like I said, I'm going for a 75-25. We need 5.08 grams of propylene glycol. For some reason, my bottle's leaking on my propylene glycol on the back of my scale.
Mine does that too.
Well, I got to invest in some new bottles. Sometimes I'll tighten them too much, and it threads on my plastic, and it'll cause it to leak a little bit. That's another thing, guys. Like when you are mixing with 100 milligram nicotine, good rule of thumb is you're better off going like 1/100 of a gram under than 1/100 of a gram over. I know it might not make a big difference. But you know, that couple hundredths of a gram over will make a difference in the nicotine consumption that you're having in your juice. So, I don't want to mess with that too much. Get a rag here and wipe off the back of my scale. Let's see where we're at. Tim, you want to talk about any of the devices that you got while I'm finishing this recipe up here? Tammy.
Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry, I had you on mute for a second.
Okay.
It's funny you mentioned that because I just filled up my new Amit.
Okay.
Amit. I think it's Amit.
Where did you get that, and how much did you pay for it, and how's it taste?
This one I got from 3F Vape from overseas, way off. So I ordered it July the 3rd, and I just got it yesterday. And I paid like $22 for it, which is really a good deal because I think they're like 25, 27, I don't know, different places. But it's very similar. It's hard to show it.
Okay.
I have my own drip tip on here. So, but it's very similar.
That you ordered from someplace, or?
I'm sorry, what?
Is that a custom drip tip?
Oh, I got it at a local vape shop.
Okay.
But it's very similar. The bottom part, the way that you turn the airflow on the bottom, and it has the juice control turn to the oh my gosh, I have it right here too. See, this is where my mind goes blank. What's the name of all these different things? You have one, folk art.
The Griffin 25?
Yeah, the Griffin, exactly. It's very similar on the bottom to that.
Yeah. Very
similar, just like it.
Yeah.
But it has no top airflow. That's the thing. But like you said, you don't even use the top airflow.
No, I don't.
But as far as like the airflow on it, because it's a single coil. It's a single coil tank, and the build on it is like super easy. I mean, you can't get easier to build on than that. It is amazing how easy it is.
So,
yeah.
So you like more of a restricted airflow?
Yeah, it's more restrictive than the Griffin 25, because I still have my Griffin 25 and I love that. But if you want more of a restrictive airflow, this is definitely a little bit more, but it's not as bad. But the bad thing about it is it does have a little bit of spit back to it. And Skittles talked about it in not live mixing, in the mix the other night, because he had a new one, and he said that it had spit back. And I'm like, because I didn't have mine yet. I'm like, what does he mean it has spit back? And then the first thing I noticed was, okay, I know what he means. It's got spit back.
I mean, there are ways around spit back.
Yes.
I mean, it depends on what coil build you're actually using.
Right, and I think I was reading about it, and I'm going to go in and change it because I have like a fuse clapped in, stapled. I don't know, whatever other words you can add to it.
Clapped and spit regardless, but what I'm saying though is you can take those coils and you can lower them down a little bit into the tank or whatever it is. You can lower them down. It might help with the spit back. So like what I'm saying is if you have those coils higher in the build deck, it can cause spit back. And one way to try to get away from that is you can take those and you can kind of lower the coils down into the juice well, being that it's in a tank, but you can lower those coils down so it doesn't hit. And another way to get rid of that too is to was I thinking lower the coils and
well, the cotton a little bit. It needs to be what was the word? Primed a little bit better.
Yeah.
Worked in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the right word.
That's okay.
But it's not. Broken in. There you go. Thank you.
Okay, I got your juice, folk art. Let me take a couple swigs off my custard before I decide to get. I got my trusty garbage can here. If I got a yak in it,
you may need
see
it.
how that goes. What's that?
You may need it.
Yeah,
No,
we're not,
he's not going to need
running
it.
too bad. What time did we get started with the show?
It's a little after 7. We're about an hour and 40
about a half hour.
Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Okay,
The time's Game of Thrones.
yeah, we're going to be getting out of here in a couple minutes anyways. Like I said, I'm just basically using my Derringer Mini on this 0.3 build. I usually run it. I don't go by people saying this is how many watts. I go by volts. You know what I mean? I vape at roughly around 4.2 volts because, in all honesty, your batteries are really pushing out 3.8 on an 18650. So, I mean, granted, with the chip in there, you can push those batteries a little bit more, but you're still only going to get 3.8 volts out of that battery. So, like I said, I try to keep it under that threshold. I really don't try to vape over 4.2 volts. And that was one thing that, real quick, I can mention on while I'm shaking this up, is Wayne was talking about, what was it, formaldehyde and juices. That was something that I heard about, I'd say about a year ago. They were talking about formaldehyde and juices with flavorings and this, that, and the other. And it's true. I mean, if juice gets really old, a lot of people don't know, but it does. It will turn into formaldehyde. That's why they have expiration dates on juice. And I've got that information from a shop owner because they even told me straight up. They said, you know, whenever the expiration date reaches that, yeah, it turns to formaldehyde. You don't want to vape that shit. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know how true that is. It's good that he's doing that research into that. Like I said, I've heard the same thing. But also, I don't think that that's anything. I mean, you hear about these people vaping 150 watts and shit like that. To each his own, I guess. But to me, you're really not getting anything from your juice. You're just frying the shit out of it, and you're not really getting the flavor profiles that you intended to get out of that juice when you're vaping at that high voltage, you know, on your device.
Well,
juice is sucking up.
You know, one thing that Wayne was talking about in the article, what it mentioned was, I think once certain, especially like VG, once it gets to a certain temperature, that's when some type of chemical changes happen, and it turns that VG into formaldehyde. So if you're keeping it under that threshold of that temperature, you know, it was
like 400 degrees or something, or 420 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep it under that, you know, who knows? It's probably not gonna, you know, hurt you that bad. But if you're going way over that, yeah, I mean that's, you know, I don't think that's very healthy.
Well, they did a similar study. I think it was a couple years back about, why is it saying check atomizer? They did a study a few years back about that too. Saying that I think it was on like those Cigalikes. They were pushing them to the limits to beyond what they were supposed to be used at, and they were just burning the living hell out of the juices. You know what I mean? And it was causing carcinogens and stuff like that to get into the, you know, into your lungs, which is people aren't going to be going that far. Okay, for some reason this isn't working here. Like, I don't know what the hell is wrong with my Derringer. Might be my device. I'm tightening the hell out of it, and it's not saying check atomizer.
Oh no!
Hold on, guys. Go ahead.
I said, oh no, technical difficulties.
I think it might be your juice, dude. It doesn't want to agree. It doesn't want to agree.
Well, it
with
does
my,
have. It does have special powers. Some say so.
Yeah. I guess it's the healing powers.
That's what I'm waiting for to happen.
Okay, so I think what's going to end up happening is I'm trying to use a pair of freaking pliers to try to. I'm just going to burn burn off my goon. I'm going to vape the rest of my goon, and then we'll throw the juice on top of there. The strawberry should be potent enough that, like, even though I got like 13 flavors in my, or I think it's like 11 or something in my custard, it's still only 11.5% flavoring. So, you know, it'll sit on top of it well, because it's kind of like the same, along the lines of like the profile. You know what I mean? It's not like it's some kind of crazy fruit where it's going to interfere with the flavor of your juice.
Yeah. So while you're vaping that off, you want me to mention about people sending in recipes to get critiqued or reviewed?
Perfect. Yes.
So if there's anybody out there that would like to get their recipes mixed, reviewed, if you want to send your recipes to recipe at DIYMixersCrew.com. Is that correct, Tammy?
Yes, let me go double check. Recipe, RECIPE at DIYMixersCrew.com. I'm going to post it in the chat.
Okay. Recipes.
Sorry, I just got the grip in this thing.
Recipes at DIYMixersCrew.com.
No S.
Mixer Crew.
No, yeah, we're Mixers Crew, but no recipes, just recipe.
Okay, recipe at DIYMixersCrew.com.
I'm sorry.
There we go. And
so
if you want to send in a recipe, you know, feel free to. Just make sure you really want to get it critiqued, because, you know, we will tell you whether it's, you know, whether it's good or not, or if it fits, if it fits the profile that you're going for. And, you know, we won't be mean, obviously, but we'll give our honest opinion on it. So feel free to do that.
Real quick too, I want to give a shout out to Russell. He's our graphic artist.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he's asking how we like our logo.
He's phenomenal.
Yes.
And awesome.
AKA Daddy Kane 91 on all the flavors. Check out his recipes.
Oh, I knew you said that was his name, but I didn't know he was on all the flavors.
Oh,
okay.
He's on all the flavors. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not going to give it out.
Now I know.
I'm not going to give it out, but I asked him if we could give a review on one of his recipes, and he submitted one. I'm not going to tell you guys. Like, I say yins, and Folk Art says y'all, because he's from the South.
Yeah.
I'm from Pittsburgh, so I speak Pittsburghese. So we're gonna do a mix of his recipe, probably coming up within the next week or so. There's one of the flavors that I don't have in my arsenal that I'm gonna have to order. I'm sorry, Russell, I forgot to put it in my basket when this past order I put in for Bull City. But you know, as well as everybody else knows in the community, Bull City Vapors is crazy on shipping. Like, you order something and like 2 days later it'll come to your house. So, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Got some strawberry on here, and this is called what is it? Arsenic? What is it? What's the name of this? Ether. That's it. Okay. Yeah.
Ether.
Okay, I thought it was arsenic.
So the other thing we should mention, because someone just asked about our website going up, is it is technically up, but there's not really any information on there as of yet. But there will be soon.
Well, go ahead, Tam. We got anything else, or?
No, just I will put a link to that in the chat as well.
Okay.
But as of right now, I mean, it just says come back soon.
So this is going to be something of a little thing that I'm going to do every time I review somebody's recipe. I will draw a little smiley face, a little straight face, or a little sad face on the juice, and I'm not going to show it to anybody. And then once I'm done vaping it, talking about it, I will put it on a screen and I'll show you what I think about it before I talk about it. So I'm going to drip a little bit more. I'm going to keep that hidden so nobody can see it there. So now I'm going to tell you what I get off of it. On that inhale, I tell you what though. First of all, it's really it's well balanced. First of all, everything sits where it's supposed to sit in this recipe, and I'm surprised because getting back to that percentage thing, you know, we talk about you don't have to really kill those percentages to get the flavor that you need in the juice. Everything is where it's supposed to be at. I get that, like, cream. As soon as I take that first chuff off of that vape, I get a subtle cream, okay? And then it brings itself up into the strawberry all the way up to the top of the vape, okay? And then on that exhale, it comes into the sweetness, that super sweet that you put in there, okay? Which I'm surprised. I thought that was going to be... Now, when I looked at this recipe, I seen super sweet, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, here we go with the super sweet, you know? But it works well. It really does. It blends well into the mix to where you're getting that cream, that strawberry in the middle of the body of the vape, and then on top, you're getting a little combination of both of the creams and the strawberry, and it dips down into the finish of that sweetness that hits you, that pucker that you get in your mouth, you know, that you're getting in the vape. So basically, I am giving a little smiley face on there on this vape. I think if I was to rate this vape on a strawberry, and I tell you what, I've done a lot of strawberry vapes. That's one of my quests, my endeavors into mixing, to get that perfect strawberry vape. And I think that is a lot of DIYers. They like strawberry vapes. Just is something about the strawberry that people go back to. Just for some reason, it hits people's palate. It's that sweet spot that hits people's palate that really helps, you know, people get off of cigarettes and stuff.
Yeah.
And tobacco altogether. And it keeps people coming back for more. And I really think that this is an enjoyable vape. For those that are listening, I really urge you to go mix Folk Art's Stone recipe, Ether. It's a really good vape. Any thoughts on Tim on how you feel about it too? On what I just said about the creams coming at the middle, yes. How the vape, and then you get that strawberry that comes in like right as like towards the top, not the top, but then it gradually comes into the top of the vape, and then when you get that exhale, that sweetness,
it's right, yes,
and everything really sits well on my palate, and I really enjoy this vape. Granted, we probably got like 3 people watching right now, but if the people that are watching it, I urge you to go out and mix this recipe.
Oh, you have 8 actually.
Yeah,
it's very.
And I'm one of them.
I'll probably want them to, but it's very enjoyable. I tell you what, it's a very good vape. You know what I mean? And I really like it. Anything else that you want to talk about this recipe? How long it took you to develop it, or anything like that, Folk Art?
Well,
Russell's heading out, so I wanted to say thank you to him for everything.
Who's that?
Russell, he's going to head out.
Thank you so
thanks,
much,
Russell. I appreciate it, guy. I appreciate it, bud.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. And
yeah.
You know, I just I had always wanted to do just a straight strawberries and cream. Everybody has a you know, that's one of the first recipes that most beginning mixers make, is a strawberries and cream. And I actually put it on the back burner because I knew, well, why make another strawberries and cream? But yeah, I spent some time with it. I vaped on it for probably about, I made up like two different batches, and I vaped on it for about 2 weeks before I made it public. But you know, it just, sometimes you just hit that, you know, that kind of sweet spot, and it just seemed to work out for me this time.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, what, being how that you vaped on it, you said for 2 weeks, were there any changes, like big or subtle, that you put into the recipe that you felt like when you your first rendition of this recipe, like say your first one on paper, then going into mixing it up, what did you feel that you needed to change in order to get to where you were at in this recipe? Well,
the first one didn't have a New York cheesecake in it, and I felt like that after you know, it didn't have that full mouthfeel. So
Okay.
That's one reason I added the New York cheesecake in the second batch. But really, other than that, the only thing is when I mixed the last batch up and liked it, the strawberry seems to be pretty strong, just off of the shake. Over time,
Now,
it does
more
fade.
percent? Like, you mean you used a higher percentage in it, or no?
No. I kept the same percentages with the
Oh, okay.
strawberry. But when I first shaked it up, when you first shake it up, the strawberries to me seemed to be pretty prominent in the recipe. And after I vaped it for a while, it did diminish some. It was to me it was almost too strong just off the shake. But over a period of even just a couple of days, it started getting a lot more mellow and kind of blended in with the creams better.
What's
Yeah,
your
I noticed
recommended?
that.
What's your recommended steep on that?
You
I didn't
know,
look.
I would.
Was it 3 days?
Yeah, 3 days. It may get a lot better after that, but I couldn't really tell that big of a difference from 3 days to a week. So.
Okay. Now you felt that after a week the strawberry was still dominant, like not dominant, like as when you first mixed it, but like going into that first week after 7 days, that strawberry presence was still there in the vape.
Yeah, for me there was no change between 3 days and a week. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, guys. All right, real quick before we get out of here, like I said, we got a lot of content coming out to you guys.
Yes.
You know, in this group. I really appreciate the few people that came out and just kind of watched this test pilot that we had today. Like I said, hopefully the people that are in the chat, they can, spread the word. Yeah, spread the word on us. We're going to be doing a live show. Roughly, we're hopefully trying to shoot for Sundays around 4 p.m. Eastern time. And the reason being for that is we have a few mixers that are out of the country. So it's easier for them to jump on board, and plus we don't want to interfere with, other shows. I really didn't get heavy on endorsing our show yet. I really didn't throw it out there in other communities. I don't know if it's okay to do that. We really haven't contacted any of the other big names in the mixing community right now for that. But like I said, once we get some subscribers, once we hit like around 100 subscribers, we'll be more than happy to throw some stuff to you guys. Like I said, a couple 501 scales. If you guys have those, if we pick a winner out of the 100 first subscribers and you guys already have the 501 scale, maybe we can do, 2 or 3 bottles of 4-ounce concentrates of your favorite, whether it be custard or, whatever. We'll send that your way. But like I said, we have to reach that 100 subscriber threshold first. Be sure to check us out on Facebook. We're in the process of adding new members every day. Like I said, feel free to tell your friends or fellow mixers out there that we have a Facebook page. We are working as fast as we can to get our website page up. And to those people, I can honestly, in closing, I want to say, I really want to give a shout out to Mr. Wayne Walker for all the work that he does in the community. And I'm not saying that Copel and Jennifer Jarvis and Adam, aka Chemist, don't put in the time. But I tell you what, Wayne's a one-man show, and for him to do the things that he does for this community is next to none. I mean, just by me adjusting my cameras.
Absolutely.
We have Russell out there really working his ass off on graphic arts to get our stuff up and running on our Facebook page and our website. And Folk Art spending hours upon hours getting the OBS software up and running to get these live YouTube videos up. For us, it's just a hobby. We try to spend as much time as we can day in and day out to try to get this content out to you guys. And to be honest with you, we actually wanted to go live probably about a month and a half ago, but the preparation and the time consumption that it actually is a lot. Like a lot of people don't understand how long it takes to prepare for stuff like this. And like I said, I don't know how Wayne does it by himself, but kudos to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I said, you know, we got a lot of content coming your way, guys, and you know, hopefully, you know, we get some subscribers in the next couple days, in the next few weeks. Hopefully next Sunday we will keep this show under an hour. We don't want to keep you guys for 2 hours. We're going to try to keep it to like 15-minute segments, you know, to review like news. If we have some news, you got to know us about who we are, how we mix, what our profiles are. You know, we're going to try to keep it to like I said, 4 or 5 segments, you know, 15 minutes each. We're going to talk about news. We're going to talk about new flavors that come out. Like I said, I want to give a shout out to Frank from Wonder Flavors in Canada. That dude's badass. His customer service is next to none. You know, for him owning a company, for him to give the time to us, you know, to send out his whole flavor concentrates to us for us to review. I really appreciate that. And like I said, it's, you know, it'll be more condensed and more put together in the future. Like I said, you know, we'll spend some time on reviewing flavors, flavor profiles of certain flavors, and then we'll move on to news. We'll move on to mod reviews, and then at the very end of the show, like I said, if Tammy, I'm sure she mentioned the email. If you guys want to put it out on Facebook, your recipe, that's fine for us to review your recipe, but we kind of want to keep it like low key until we actually bring it on YouTube. So if you guys want to throw that into the email, Tammy, what was the email again?
I posted it on. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I didn't know if I muted myself or not. I'm sorry. I posted it in the chat, but it is recipe at. Hold on. DIYMixerscrew.com, right? Yes, that's it. It's just recipe at DIYMixer.com.
Okay, mixers.com. So if you guys want to, you know, submit one of your recipes to us, that would be great. We would really like to review your recipe on ATF. Even if it's on ELR, that's fine. Even if you keep your recipes by yourself and you want to get a review on your recipe, feel free to submit that recipe to us. If I don't mix it, Folk Art or Tammy or Lewis or Static 2020. Static 2020 and Lewis aren't here. Neither is Ricky Maggs. If they want to mix that recipe and review your recipe live, that's fine. And another thing too, if you're not camera shy and you want to be out there in the public eye, and you feel that you want to be live with us on our show, feel free to contact us on that recipe review, and we will have you live on our show. Basically, all you're going to need is basic stuff is just a webcam and a set of headphones or whatever, and a laptop, or you can even do it from a smart device like a smartphone or a tablet or whatever. We can bring you on a show and talk to you live about your recipe if you want. If not, that's fine. Anything else you guys want to give before we close out today?
Yeah, give a thumbs up
to
the video. Yeah.
Video? Wow. Like I said,
on YouTube.
It seems we always run over time, but like I said, there was a lot of stuff.
Give a thumbs up.
We will try to keep it under an hour for you guys. Like I said, I apologize if it was over the 1 hour threshold. Anything else, guys, before we go?
I think that's it. If y'all just want to stay in the Skype video while we transition out. Thanks, guys, for watching.
Thanks.
Real quick before we leave, Steve, Folk Art recipe is badass. Check it out on ATF.
It's good.